Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode we had the draft and re-sign stage, and it was a very important draft for us just because we need to continue to rebuild as fast as we can because we don't have a lot of time left to go on and win a Stanley Cup. So we end up drafting a defensive defenseman because there was no offensive defenseman in the draft, but we did get a good prospect for the future. So as you can see, our defensive core at the moment, at least of what I'm thinking, is going to be like Biggs, Stewart, Wall, Stapleton, and then I'm probably also going to run with two of the youngsters in Hartikainen, who we acquired in the DeKaiser deal, and our elite prospect in Samson, who we just drafted. He looks pretty good defensively, and I'm excited to see if he could actually be that type of guy. Some defensive defensemen actually put up a decent amount of offense once they get better, so hopefully this guy could help out offensively as well. And yeah, that's pretty much that. And then we have a lot of depth defensemen like Barry, Medvedov, or one of those guys will probably play in the NHL as a depth defenseman. So we aren't even going to be signing any defensemen in this offseason or any goaltenders. It's more about going to be the forwards because we do need a lot of forwards. We let go a decent amount of people, and I think we still need, like, I wrote down 3 dressed forwards and 2 scratch forwards, so we're going to be picking up a decent amount of players in this offseason. Now, I do have one comment I'd like to go over before we get into our free agent signings, and that is from HawksFan88. He says, I would definitely go after Savonin since he seems to be still scoring a ton. He also still probably has great trade value in case the team struggles. By the way, I could have sworn Thorne was an offensive defenseman. Reading is hard. And yeah, so Thorne, we thought he was an offensive defenseman, but like it's because the D I find in the O look very similar with the type of font that EA uses, and it's just really weird because some people read DFD as OFD, and yeah, it gets a little bit of out of hand. But anyways, yeah, we're definitely going to go after Savonin in free agency. I really wanted to bring in Savonin anyways because Savonin was somebody I was looking at quite a few years ago to actually bring in from the St. Louis Blues, but St. Louis didn't want to budge on him. Eventually, we went on to the Stanley Cup Finals a few years ago, and we actually beat Savonin in the finals. And yeah, this guy could score a lot of goals. Like, we don't really know if he fits our system, but every single season almost in the NHL, he's been putting up around 50 goals a year. And I actually looked at the record book, and it turns out he actually has like the 5th most all-time 50-goal seasons. Like, he has like 7 seasons where he's got 50 goals, which is pretty ridiculous. Like, as you can see in his earlier years, he didn't score a whole lot really, but then he gets to like here and he's starting to score 40 goals and then 50 goals every single year except for right here. But yeah, he was a really consistent goal scorer, and he's actually coming off of 5 50-goal seasons in the last 6 years, which is ridiculous to say. The most he scored is 59 goals, so he almost had 60 goals one time. And then as you can see in terms of like playoff stats, this guy's nuts as well. He's almost point per game despite his team never winning a Stanley Cup in St. Louis. He was point per game the year that we beat them in the finals, and he was a main piece like that I was really scared about on that team. So it should be exciting to bring him in, hopefully, as long as no other team gets him. We are going to, I don't know why I just defaulted to that, but let's just sort by overall again. We are going to bring him in on a 1-year deal like he wants. There's 2 other teams interested in him, so we're going to actually have to give him more than what he wants. And I will try and get him to go to like 1 year at 14.25. Like, I don't really care how much of our cap we use. I just need to get him signed for 1 year. So 1 year at 14.25, which will give us still $15 million in cap space. So we do need still a couple more forwards. So one of the other guys we're going to be bringing in is another left winger, and it is Sonnenberg is what I was thinking. And yeah, there he is, 81 overall. He wants a little bit of money, which I'm okay with once again because we have a lot of money. This guy's a grinder, which is something we don't really have a whole lot of. He's 26 years old. And yeah, he's just a really good defensive player to have, like, maybe for our penalty kill, and he actually probably fits our third line too. So we're gonna bring this guy in on probably a 1-year deal as well. Maybe we go 2 years. He doesn't want really a whole lot. We'll try getting him on a 2-year deal at 3.6. because he might be like a Piron replacement for like what's his name, Wong, at some point, because Wong is just like, he's a grinder as well, and I think he's been dropping off a lot due to morale reasons. So we're gonna sign Sonnenberg to a 2-year $3.6 million deal if he wants to accept that. And in our final dressed forward that we're going to be bringing in, well, we might actually use this guy as a depth forward. I don't really know what to use him as. Is somebody that's never really gotten much of a chance at the NHL level, and that is Rodrigo Stoll. Now, this guy was a former first round pick, actually, of the Vegas Golden Knights. He's got some decent attributes like his passing and whatnot, but this guy's never gotten a shot at the NHL level. Like, he's only played 3 years in the AHL, and technically he hasn't played in 8 years, which is really crazy, because he's just been a free agent because nobody wants to give him a one-way deal, which is kind of weird. So I'm going to give him a contract, and yeah, two-way deal is fine with me, actually. If he wants to play in the AHL, he could play in the AHL, but we might just use him as a depth forward and give him an opportunity, because I like giving guys opportunities that don't actually make it, you know. So those are 3 forwards. We do need 2 depth forwards. Like, that guy might be a depth forward. I don't really know. But we do need a couple depth forwards, so we need the center to start off with, which in this case, how it is Vince Robertson. This guy looks like he's an RFA though. Yeah, this guy's an RFA, which kind of sucks. Christian Austin, we don't know anything about him. But yeah, we definitely need a depth center that could work with our system. This guy might work. 23-year-old UFA. Yeah, we're going to sign you up. You look decent enough. We'll give you what you want. So there is a depth forward, and let's bring in another depth forward. I don't know who we want to bring in though, or we could just sign somebody else, and then that Stoll guy could be a depth forward. Quinton Ronning, bottom 6 power forward. We don't really have a lot of power forwards, and does fit our top 6. So you know what? We'll give this guy an opportunity. He wants actually a lot of money though. Yeah, I'm not gonna give up $5 million to a 79. Never mind. Some of these contracts are kind of weird. Like, I don't know why a 79 would want $5 million bucks. Like, maybe he was getting, like, I don't know, second line minutes or something, and he put up a lot of points. Chase Whitmore, that guy was in Tampa Bay at one point, right? Yeah, that's why I recognize that dude's name. He doesn't have great defensive stats anyways. Former player Dylan Nolan. What about Dandino Gaspard Dandino? No idea about him. We need to find somebody somewhat okay. This guy might be okay. Gordy Gove. Yeah, we're going to take Gordy Gove. 23-year-old UFA again. 78 overall. Once again, this guy might end up being something decent. He wants a 2-way deal. We're going to give him a 2-way deal, but he'll probably end up being a depth forward for us. Or maybe even a dressed forward. Depends if I want to play him or Stoll. So those are going to be our signings this year, which is not really like the biggest signing. Savonin obviously being the biggest out of the bunch. Yeah, if we could get Sonnenberg as well and whatnot, then we're adding 2 good pieces, I would say. And then Gove, Stoll, and Wisniewski are just extra pieces. But Savonin's going to help that goal scoring need that we've been struggling for the last few years. So I am very excited if he is going to accept. Hopefully he does. And hopefully he doesn't go to one of the other teams, because I really wanted Savonin years ago, like I said, and I wasn't able to get the opportunity to. But now that St. Louis has let him go, we need to convert on this opportunity. So let's see if we get those 5 guys. And now I'm not talking about the burger joint or whatever the heck it's called. Let's go to the 5th. Let's reject all these trade offers. Come on, boys. Rodrigo Stoll has rejected because of the team chemistry. Okay, we could go back for Stoll. Oh no. A lot of people are rejecting because of the team chemistry. I really hope Savonin doesn't, because our team chemistry is down to like a 40%, so I'm gonna have to start paying people a lot more. So we're still waiting on Savonin. I might have to give him I don't think I could withdraw my offer, which kind of sucks, and give him a new offer. I really hope he accepts our offer. Like, hopefully the chemistry thing didn't screw up with, but I need to go back for those guys now, because I have to give them more money to actually accept going into our locker room, because their locker room has kind of dismantled itself. It's down to like a 40%, I believe. So, and it looks like we did lose out on Sonnenberg now. Wow, that is a lot of bullshit. That's some bullshit. Oh no, there he is. Okay. Looks like he may be a little bit of a picky player. Let's do a 1-year deal, and I'll give you like 4.5. I don't really care if I'm overpaying some of these players. I just need to get them into our lineup. And then Rodrigo Stoll we need. And not O-Stoll. Rodrigo Stoll, he should be unsigned still because nobody wanted him. The weird thing is these guys that I gave 2-way contracts to, like literally they're going to be maybe playing in the AHL. There's an opportunity for them to play in the AHL. But like the AHL team has a lot better chemistry than any NHL, so I don't know what they're complaining about. So I'll give you 1.5, and then we also need 2 more depth forwards, which in that sense we were offering contracts to. I really hope we don't lose on. Oh damn, UC Kolymainen's testing free agency. I didn't even realize, and he doesn't even want that much. Huh, that's interesting. Where are they? Where were the dudes that I was just offering contracts to? And I don't even remember their names now. Oh wait, it was Vishnovsky. Yeah, that was definitely one of them. We'll give him a little bit more, just because I know our chemistry is a little bit bad, but don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. And who was the other one? There was another one. I'm trying to remember what his name was now. Oh, it was definitely another right winger. It was somebody that was near Stoll, I'm pretty sure. That's what happens when you record in the morning. You just don't remember who you offer contracts to. No, it was nobody of these dudes. Whoever it was might have got signed. I honestly don't remember. Maybe it was Gove. Yeah, it was Gove, I think. Because he's a younger guy. We'll give you a 1-way deal. Sweeten that up a little bit. Boom. That should be good. And hopefully we get those guys in. Hopefully Savonin still accepts, because I gave him a lot more than he wanted. So come on, Savonin, please. Friggin' Christ. You gotta be joking me. Why does he go to Montreal? Let's decline this. Decline that. Why do you go to Montreal, Savonin? That ruins the entire upcoming season completely. I was excited for this year because I thought I would probably be able to get Savonin, but he goes to Montreal for 1 year at less money. Just because he thinks Montreal has a better opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. But if you look at their team, they are not anywhere close to winning a Stanley Cup. Oh no, it's actually all expiring different deals. Never mind. Actually, yeah, they have a better opportunity than us probably to win a Stanley Cup, but my god, it sucks so much. That means we need to sign one more top-line player. Losing out on Savonin really blows. I'm not giving this guy a 7-year deal. Yeah, I'm not giving that guy a contract. I don't even know who I could get now. Brophy, he's a sniper. Yeah, he fits our special teams. I guess we're going to go with Jeffrey Brophy. This guy's also had a 46-goal season last year, but he might have statistical growth. He might end up just being like another Bouillon type of idea. Or we could go with Graves, who's a power forward. Don't know anything about him, though. Oh, so much pain about that. That sucks so much. I almost feel like redoing that, but I'm not going to. Cyrus Henderson, top 6 forward. Yeah, you know what? Cyrus Henderson might not be that bad. He actually fits our top 6. So we'll try and get that guy in for 1 year. Vancouver and Chicago are also interested, so I'm going to just talk him up to like 1 point, or not 1 point. Give him 8.25 for 1 year. I hope Savonin gets put on the trading block at the deadline, because if for some reason our team is doing good, then we're going to try and go after him. I don't know. Sim to next season, see if we get those guys. Rodrigo Stoll is accepted. Sonnenberg's accepted. Gove. Vishnovsky. We're just waiting on this one last dude. And Henderson is accepted. There you go. So we got somebody. He's not much of a goal scorer. He's a 2-way forward, but that's something we don't really actually have in our top 6. So I think that actually does... That's a decent signing, I would say. So anyways, guys, I'm going to do a little jump cut to next season, and we're going to simulate a little bit to see how our team is, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so I've never seen a team hit so hard by morale. Like, this team is probably one of the worst teams I've ever seen, just because morale has affected overalls completely. and I'm really hoping it goes up throughout the season, because if it doesn't, there's probably no chance we're going to win anytime soon, because well, Henderson, obviously we just signed, he's an 85, but Matthews' morale has dropped him down to an 82, and then Dingman is still an 88, so he's still okay. But then you get into like, well, actually our second line's still fine, Dika, Powell, and Garrison, but you get to guys like Hobbs, he dropped down to a 78 because of morale issues, which is kind of gross. We still got Sonnenberg, and Boulanger is going to be making his NHL debut, which is nice. And then you get into our fourth line, and Wong is dropped to a 77 because of morale. Defensively is where we're hit a lot. Wall's dropped down to a 78. It could be because of his age, but it also could be morale issues as well. Stewart dropped down to a 76 because of morale issues. I really hope morale goes back up, because Stewart as a 76 looks gross. And then these two are fine because they're younger guys. Goalie-wise, though, is pretty much the same. Nguyen looks like he dropped off a lot as well, which really sucks. And then there's our depth options. But as you can see, if we go to our AHL system, Nikita Alexandrov dropped down to a 75 due to morale issues, I think, as well. Yeah, it looks like the morale. If he develops back into being that NHL player, we'll call him up. But right now, morale has affected like 5 of our players, it seems like, and that is not good. Like, I don't think I've ever had that bad of morale issues in an NHL franchise mode since probably like NHL 17. Like, his team is just completely fallen off. So I'm really hoping this team simulates decently. Like, hopefully Deke could score a lot of goals this year, and hopefully that helps us out a little bit. Like, man, it does not look good. Let me just check our penalty kill lines. Actually, our penalty kill and chemistry looks pretty decent. Let me see if I swap this around. That's probably better. But yeah, our chemistry looks pretty decent for the most part. It's just our team looks, oh man. Wait, did we even pick up a new coach? Or was that in a different franchise mode that I lost my coach? No, I think that was my Atlanta one that I lost my coach. But yeah, our team looks like they fell apart completely chemistry-wise. Like, look at that poor team chemistry. I've never had that before. I've always had, like, great chemistry, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's at a 40% right now. We got a lot of disengaged and disgruntled people. Wong and Stewart and Matthews and Nguyen are all disgruntled. Wall and Deke is already disengaged, which I don't like, because we're obviously, this is one of our top prospects right now, right? So that's not good. Like, at least the AHL team has a bunch of, like, good chemistry. I hope we can get the NHL back to being that level, because if not, I think there's no chance we're going to win soon, because this team is not going to believe in itself and whatnot. But let's see what happens. We're going to start up the season sim. We're going to probably do maybe up to January the 1st. I don't know. It depends really how we're simulating, because if we're simulating really awfully, maybe we want to stop it earlier. But let's see how we do in the preseason. Maybe this will help out our team a little bit. The owner goals are saying that we're a seller as well, apparently, which is kind of weird, because I feel like this team should be a decent team. Like, if we would have been able to bring in Savonin, I think that would have helped out our chemistry a lot. But, well, not necessarily our chemistry, but our players' morale and whatnot. We're 1-6 in the preseason. Jeez. Well, hopefully we do better in the actual regular season. Come on, boys. Hopefully you can do good, and hopefully you don't continue to lose morale, because or else we're going to have to probably flip away a lot of our good players. Okay, let's go 1 month. See how we do. This is the moment of truth. Come on, boys. We start off with a 4-1 loss. We lose 3-2 there. We lose 4-2. Oh my god. Okay, wait. Now we're on a 2-game winning streak. And then we lose again. There's another win. We started off slow, but now we're picking it up again. We're 5-5-1, so that's actually a lot better of a start than I was expecting with the current chemistry. Matthews is point per game as well, which is great, and he's scoring more goals than assists, which is really weird for him, because that doesn't happen that often. Let me just take a look at what lines are doing what, just because I want to see. Looks like the top line has been the best line so far, which is... Now the second line's been pretty good too, offensively at least. Third line's been not too bad. Fourth line with the addition of Ali de Kaiser has been pretty solid as well. Wong has got 7 points in 11 games. What the heck? He's having like a midlife crisis or something. And defenseman, Okay, we're not actually doing bad defensively, it seems like, right now. And Clayton Sampson's got 3 points already in his first 11 games, so that's actually pretty cool. Goalie-wise, Nguyen was fantastic in whatever he played, and Stevenson's not been great so far. But it looks like we're doing not too bad. Kind of actually impressed with that to an extent. I feel like I could put Hobbs down to the 4th line, but I don't really want him to lose more morale. Because Boulanger could play center as well. But Gove isn't really actually a center, but whatever. He's got 7 points in 11 games, which is kind of impressive. How's Dika doing? 5 points in 11 games. Not too bad. Let's do another month, so. That was not a bad first month. 500 hockey, and hopefully we could do that again in the month of November. Because if not, then this team is going to start to fall off. Eventually, it will probably happen because, I mean, I think last year we started off okay, and then we just completely blew it, if I remember right. Let's go another month, see if we could stay right around 500. We start off with a shootout loss and then a win, a loss. There's a win, okay. This team looks like they might be regaining a little bit of form. Michael Wong has been injured. That's not good. We will throw in Rodrigo Stoll. Give that guy his NHL debut at the age of 31. Kind of like Cracknell from a few years ago. Come on, boys. There's a couple more wins. We're not actually doing too bad. I think chemistry is going to go back to normal. It looks like it is a little bit. Matthews is up to an 83 again. There you go. Wong back in. But yeah, we're starting to get guys back to their normal overalls because Hobbs is back to an 80. Yeah, I think everything's going back to normal. At least it feels like it is. Wall's back to a 79. Stewart's still a 76. But I really hope he kind of wakes up a bit from that. Not too bad. Goalies are good. Yeah, I think our chemistry is going back to normal. I really hope it is. Alexandrov playing in the minors is still 76. He's got almost point per game down there. I would play him in the NHL, but once again, I don't really know how good of an overall he actually is because of morale and whatnot. There's a loss, and the last game of the month against Montreal, we lose 6-2. Probably Savonin had a lot of goals in that game. But Montreal is off to a 15-10-1 start, so yeah, they're doing better than us. We're 11-12-2. I wouldn't say that's a fantastic record, but it's better than expected, at least. Not too bad. Garrison's almost point per game as well. Let's do one more month, just to get a decent amount of the season done. And hopefully this team can be above 500 by the end of the month. And then we'll take a look at our player stats and whatnot. So Dingman's injured with a concussion. That's a humongous loss. Let's go replace player. I'll probably put in Stoll on our top line, which is kind of cool. We win 2 games in a row and we'll lose 2. Abraham Regier is on waivers. That's a former defenseman of ours from last year that we let go of. It's funny. Don't need him though. Game against Carolina is a loss. There's a couple more wins. Yeah, our team is very streaky right now. I can't even really tell if we're being that good of a team. We're 19-18-2, so I'll take that. We are not in a playoff spot. We're 6 points back still of one, but we're not looking too bad so far. Better than I expected, like I was saying. And we do still have how much more games in hand? We have a couple more games on hand on like the Canadians and stuff, so that's good. Let's take a look at our player stats and the team stats so far so we can see what we're kind of struggling with. And yeah, then I think that'll be pretty much it. Maybe I'll show you guys actually the trading block in draft class 2. So we could decide if we want to like tank for the last half of the season or what. But Matthews, 34 points in 39 games. He's been pretty good so far. Looks like that power play unit might be doing decent. Powell, 23 points in 39 games, a -11, which I don't like at all. We might need to address our defensive play a little bit. Boulanger, 14 points in his first NHL season. Definitely a pure playmaker. Still really liking this guy that we brought in from the Islanders. Hobbs, 11 points in 39 games. Not too bad from a 4th liner. That also is getting power play time, apparently. Interesting. In terms of our left wingers so far, Cyrus Henderson is almost point per game. Well, actually not really. 23 points. It's not too bad. I still would have preferred Savonin. Actually, that's kind of funny. Cyrus Henderson was in Montreal last year, so literally we're taking what Savonin replaced in Montreal. Interesting. Didn't even notice that when I signed him, to be honest. D get 18 points in 39 games, 11 goals. By the end of the season, he could be around 25 goals. But he's still off to a little bit of a slow start in his career, but hopefully he can continue to be pretty decent. His defensive stats aren't great at all right now. Wong, 13 points in 35 games. Interesting. Sonnenberg, 12 points. So Sonnenberg and Wong aren't putting up a lot. Right wing wise, Garrison's almost point per game. Very impressed with Garrison, because this might end up being one of his best seasons of his career, except for his plus minus. Dingman, 23 points in 27 games before his injury. Gove, 13 points, not too bad. Stoll has 10 points in 16 games as a depth guy. Then again, he was thrown into the exact spot Dingman was, so he's getting a lot of opportunities. But that is actually pretty impressive. Yeah, he's getting a lot of ice time. 6.7% is his shooting percentage, though. Like, he's got 30 shots in 16 games, but he's not scoring. But at least he's picking up still points. Ali De Keyser's got 5 assists in 39 games. And then our defensive core, Biggs has been pretty good. Wall's been actually better than last year almost already at this stage. It's interesting. Stewart, 10 points and a plus 10. Loving it that Jose Stewart's plus again, because he wasn't last year for the first time in a long time. And then Stapleton, 8 points. Hardikainen, 6 points and a minus 12. Samson, 5 points and a minus 11. So, looks like our young defensive pairing on the top 6 is not doing too good defensively. But that's what happens when you have younger guys. They usually are a little bit of a defensive liability. Goaltending wise, Stevenson's been actually pretty good, and Nguyen's actually been fantastic as a backup this year. Way better than last year so far. Interesting. Let me take a look actually at how Savonen's doing in Montreal, just to hurt myself a little bit more. He's got 24 goals, 48 points in 41 games. He's probably going to have another 50-goal season potentially. He looks like he's on pace for 48 goals, but he could hit 50. Damn, I'm really mad that I didn't get this guy. And apparently he would only fit our 4th line in power play, but he could have still helped deliver our team a lot, I think, in terms of scoring goals. And then maybe we wouldn't be in this weird-ass 19-18-2 record that we have. Let's take a look quickly at the standing stats, just because I'm kind of curious on what we're doing bad at. So currently we are the 20th worst team in the NHL, scoring 2.69 goals per game, which is one of the worst in the NHL. So yeah, Savonen would have definitely helped us out if he would have been on this team. He could have boosted our scoring a little bit, and maybe we would have been in a better situation. Goals against per game, though, wise, we are actually one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, which is something I didn't really expect to see, because I think this team was good defensively last year, but this team shouldn't be this good defensively, really, especially with the morale issues. Power play percentage, we are one of the worst on the power play. See, like, Savonen definitely could have helped us out a lot. And then our penalty kill is also one of the worst, though, looks like. Yeah, our penalty kill is not good either. So we need to get our special teams playing better, looks like, and we need to score more goals is pretty much the end goal for our team. Let's take a look at the draft class in the trading block, and then that'll be it for this episode. See what's there. So it looks like it's going to be a left wing 2-way forward that goes first overall. This guy's a really small player, 5'8", 165. Jeez. There's also Frederick Cruz, who's a sniper who might end up being the better of the 2 picks. This guy's actually all around a really good player. If we end up missing the playoffs and getting a lottery pick and getting something decent, that wouldn't be a bad option. But there's another defensive defenseman. Another solid left winger, 2-way forward, though. We still don't really know a whole lot about this draft class, though. Like, I don't know which way we want to choose this team. If we want to start losing games, if we want to start winning games, that type of thing. Any low leads yet the pin? Potentially with these guys, 2-way defenseman. Oh, that guy's definitely a good pick for the late round, first round. I don't think we're going to have a pick around there, but that's still a good pick. If only that was like a second rounder, I would definitely take that guy in the second round. And that's pretty much that on the low elite front. Let's take a look at what is out there in terms of the trading block. I'll also show you guys what contracts are up, so you guys can let me know maybe who we want to trade away. But here's who's available in Anaheim. Wait, a couple of those are former players. Corbin, who we let go of, he's having actually a good year in Anaheim. And Christian Sedin as well. He looks like he's just been playing as a depth forward for them. Interesting. In terms of Arizona, they got some decent players as well. I don't really know if we want to trade for prospects though, or decent players, so. And I don't really want to part with any of the guys on our team. Like, I don't want to part with like guys like Matthews or Dingman or even Wall still, because I still want Wall to retire as a Detroit Red Wing. Because after all, he's been one of our best defensemen. Ville Savonen's been thrown on the block. That is our defenseman that we used to have. He's been actually pretty good in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's been pretty good for the most few years. He's actually been minus the last 2 seasons, but he was a plus 29 one year. Kind of miss him, but he's 32 now, so he's getting close to retirement probably. Some decent prospects, it looks like, in Dallas, maybe. Yeah, there's a lot of young guys on the block, it looks like, actually. Kolosov, this guy's making $11 million. Jeez. Some of these contracts in this game is ridiculous. Like, that Dylan Genther deal still is crazy. $17 million. Montreal actually has some players on the block that are decent, which is weird. Might be because they brought in Savonin, but they have, like, Donald on the block, Foot on the block, and also Pusher. But I don't know if this team is actually going to be a playoff team, so it's like I don't really know if we want to actually trade for veterans or if we want to go the prospect route. Like, it'll probably be up to you guys again, but Gustavo Nickel, damn. Oh my god, that is a horrible contract. I don't know if it's morale issues for him or what, but Gustavo Nickel, if you guys remember, he was our starter when we won the Stanley Cup, I think it was. Yeah, he was our starter when we won the Stanley Cup. Well, we ended up letting him go because he wanted a lot of money. He signed in New Jersey, and he's never been above 500. And this guy's a 77 now, and he's making $11.79 million for 4 years. Like, New Jersey, that's probably something you want to buy out. But yes, that guy just completely fell off a cliff. I'm glad I let him go after winning the Stanley Cup, because if I would have signed him and him performing like that, ugh, that would not be good. Yeah, there's a lot of actually decent stuff on the block at this point in time. Normally at this stage I don't find a whole lot of interesting stuff, but it looks like there's some decent players if we want to bring in somebody on the forward core or defensive core, that type of thing. And I think that's almost it. Yep, that is it for what's on the trading block. And finally, I'll show you guys also the contract update, just in case you guys want me to trade away players with like 1 year left on their deals, that type of thing. So Biggs is going to need a new contract, and he's going to want a lot of money. Actually, not too bad, around the same amount as he's currently making. He might not want to sign back with us, though, because we're a bad team. Henderson is who we just literally signed. He wants more than less than he had now. Interesting. Powell would need a decent contract. Yeah, he wants like 8 mil. Sonnenberg probably wouldn't come back. I don't know. He wants 3.5, which is respectable. Gove wants 3.6 right now, but yeah, Gove might not want an extension, but we could qualify him at least. Wall's probably going to retire this year, I think, but he wants like 2 years at 6 mil, which is a lot. But yeah, that's pretty much what is up for renewal. Stewart as well. He's going to want a decent amount of money. And he doesn't want to come back because morale, but we're going to have to try and force him to come back. Stevenson's contract is up, and he's going to want a lot of money being an RFA. We can't even give him a 1 year deal, or else he becomes a UFA, so we're going to have to give him a long-term deal, I would assume. But that's pretty much what's up for renewal. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll make maybe a few trades, and we will sim the rest of the season and see how this year plays out. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.